Yeah, just by the way, everyone, it is going to be recorded, um, possibly on YouTube as well, if Clive's all right with it after, but that's for another day. So thanks for joining, everyone. Nice to see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces too. And yeah, I won't talk too much because this session is all about Clive. His journey so far. He's been selling on Amazon for about 6 months now on your own account, and we can get into that story as well. So yeah, I'll open the floor up to you, Clive, if you want to give people a bit of an introduction.
Yeah. Okay. So my name's Clive Hallis. I sort of retired from the rat race, if you like, just over two and a half years ago. When I was 55, I managed to get enough money in my pension and decided I wanted to quit and get out of the commute into London and stuff like that I was doing for many years. And I spent, most of the last two and a half, well, coming up 3 years now just detoxing from the rat race, to be honest with you. Not doing a lot, just enjoying where I live down by the sea, and getting fit again and losing weight and all that sort of stuff that you do when you've got time in your hands to do it. But then about a year ago, or just over a year ago, I started getting itchy feet, and I'm not ready to hang up my boots completely yet. I still want to make some more money. Um, I still like to, having been to Spain recently and seen some lovely villas, I quite like the idea of one of them as well. So that means, making some money, right? So it was probably about a year and a half ago I started thinking about it semi-seriously, and that was really on the back of my son, right? My son, um, he was successful in lockdown for a short period of time. He did some drop shipping during lockdown back in COVID, and he made I don't know £60,000 in sales in 4 weeks or something. He made £5 or £6,000 profit selling doggy paddling pools. So he decided to carry on, and he wanted to get a bit more serious about making money online. And it was 2 years ago that he met his now partner, and she had similar ideas, and they started selling, and they were drop shipping, and they were doing Shopify. And anyway, they made a load of money, right? I mean, they did $4 million in sales in 18 months, and they made, a good amount of money. So the inspiration to start doing something really came from him and what he was doing. And initially, um, I was going to do what he was doing, right? He was going to teach me the basics of drop shipping, and I started. It was actually this time, like, well, August last year, I created my company, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get serious about this. I'm going to create a Shopify store, and I'm going to find some products to sell, and I'm going to use a drop shipping model. And I started doing it, and after about 4 weeks, I thought, you know what, I'm really struggling with this. I've got to create a website. I can find products, so that was okay. Do some product research, but I struggle with drop shipping. You don't actually physically sort of buy something and know that it's really good when you're selling it. And I couldn't quite get my head around that. So uh, it, and I found it quite lonely, just sitting, in my office as I am now, just trying to tap away at something that was completely unknown to me. And I'd also known about Amazon, because I've been, I followed Des, Des Hamilton for some time as well. So I'd sort of followed a bit of his journey on YouTube. So I knew a bit about Amazon, uh, and I watched the likes of Russ and interviews and so on with Des Hamilton. So that interested me as well. So I started to think about, can I do Amazon instead, actually, because maybe I can get into a community of people that are, more like-minded, and get a bit of support that way. Uh, and I found a mentor, actually. And so if I'm yabbering on, just please stop me, interrupt me, ask me questions.
Floor is yours. Yeah.
Um, we found a mentor towards the back end of last year. And it seemed like a really good idea to join this guy. I mean, I paid quite a bit of money up front, but there were things included like free prep service was included. There was going to be some deal service. There was going to be the mentoring to help me set my accounts up. So it all seemed really good. And yeah, and it got me going, right? And but what this chap wanted to do, yeah, what she wanted to encourage us to sort of sell through his own accounts because he knew how difficult it was for a new seller to actually open up Amazon and actually start selling, lots of different things because everyone knows it's extremely hard to get ungated in initially. And actually, even once you got over that hurdle, it's still hard to get ungated on the more popular brands. We could talk about that as we go further on, but um, so the idea was that there's a group of us, so we could sell through his accounts, his ready-made accounts, and we could purchase through him, and it all sounded great on paper, but I think when it came down to it, he was dealing with 10, 12, 15 people all bombarded him with requests to buy stuff and prep stuff, and he had 10 or 15 accounts to manage. That actually it became very, very difficult for us, any of us, probably him as well, to make money out of it because we buy stock, send it in. With Amazon, you can get your money out fairly quickly, right? You can get your money out after, certainly once you've been selling a few weeks, you can start getting your money out and do the on-demand payments. Um, Through this arrangement, I had to wait 2, 3 months to get my money. So there's no way I could turn money over quickly and build a business. So decision was made, I think, early this year, sort of January, February time. I need to start selling on my own account and to open my own account up. However painful that might be, I think that's the only way forward. And actually, in the long term, you want to be if it's your business, you want full control of it. You don't really want someone else, um, sort of running it entirety for you, on their platform. So yeah, I mean, February this year, I'd say I'd started getting serious about understanding how my own account was configured, set up. Um, and then it was March time. I'm just looking at my sales figures. I've just posted my sales figures year to date. For those who haven't seen it is it the sales chat. So I started sending stock into Amazon probably late February, early March, and I made my first sales around the 22nd of March. And I think between there and the end of April, I made about £1,600 in sales. So between March and the end of April was the really painful stage of, first of all, I can't sell anything, right? And I don't know how to find things that I don't know how to sell. Sorry, I don't know how to find things that I can sell. That was a challenge number one. Um, Actually, there's a guy in this school called Peter, who who actually was very helpful because he'd found Arbisource, right? Probably he'd been looking at Arbisource, and very quickly um, it worked out that you can use Arbisource to actually, do general scans on stores and find things that anyone can sell that you're ungated on. And you don't get many things back when you run the scan, but you get things that you can sell, and that's how I started, right? I just scanned stores. Um, it was your, standard high street stores, Morrison's, Tesco's, Home Bargains, and I just found a few products I could sell. I got quite lucky. I bought a shampoo from Home Bargains, and it looked like there were quite a few sellers, and all of a sudden there were none. It was sold out, and then there's no one on the listing. So I got really lucky early on in that sort of first 6 weeks. So I bought about 40 units of the shampoo at a fiver a unit, and I was able to sell it for a fiver a unit profit for about a month before everyone found the listing and then came on it and tanked it. So I did all right for a little while, and then after that, I went back to making 50p to a pound unit on something that should have been 50p to a pound unit profit in the first place. So, but it got me going, right, and got me over that first 4 to 6 weeks of selling things like cheap shampoo. Um, I think there were a few perfumey type things that I worked out I could sell from the previous business relationship I'd had with the other chap. Like I said, my own account, so I managed to get some of that on board as well. So I had about 20 products in the first 6 weeks, and I managed to get £600 of sales. I got about 100 sales in total, and I got to 1,600 quid. I had about 100 sales in total, And I thought, okay, I'm now going to try and ungate. Just start. So I just hit in the um, I used Arbor and just pulled out, just did a scan on the store, and I just went down every product or every brand and just went ungate, press the ungate button, and just tried to ungate on as many things as I possibly could. And I realised, in about 10 minutes that actually I was ungating on about one in four things. So that was much better than I'd been able to do previously. So I just literally kept hitting that button, and I ungated several hundred brands. I thought that might make it a bit easier for me to run wider Arbisol scans and start selling more products. Um, and that's kind of how it went from there, really. In terms of the sales just built up. I went from, I think, April and May were both about the same, just under £2,000, and then June onwards, I sort of leapt up to about 5k in sales that month. So I was doing, I had a lot more ASINs by that time. I was probably 50 or 60 ASINs deep. Um, and then just went up and up and up from there. And I started using different techniques. I wasn't just using Arbisource anymore. I found storefront stalking was quite good. Just manually, actually, just looking for stuff with storefront stalking. Wasn't using any Arbisource reverse searching or anything like that at that point in time. Didn't really understand how to use those things. In fact, it's only Ash has really sort of made that clear to me in the last couple of weeks, watching back some videos there. So I've got some new stuff I've learned very recently, which I'm about to start using as well. Um, so I think, that's kind of like the journey in outline. Ungating wise, I know a lot of people try in the early days, I'll find 10 units or something and just try and ungate. And I was hearing so much. I was looking at other forums before I was in Navigators, and people just weren't getting any joy out of Amazon, I found. So I didn't want to go down that route. Um, I did buy I did buy from Cogito in the early days. I bought, don't all hiss at me, but I got my £100 discount plus VAT, and I found a product that sold 25 a month. There weren't many people on listing. I thought I'm going to buy that. So it was a shampoo, some sort of luxury shampoo, and I got it, a discount, which meant I could make £10 a unit profit if I could sell it at the right price. Um, so I bought my 250 quid's worth of two Cogita stock, and I thought I'll use my Cogita invoice to ungate. So I sent that to Amazon, and Amazon, of course, denied it. And I sent that about 20 times, and every time got denied. Uh, I circled everything. Went back to Cogita. It was a proper Cogita marketplace invoice that I received. So with Cogita, um, in general, they don't tell you, you don't know who you're buying from. It's a marketplace. You don't know who the wholesaler is you're actually purchasing from. But if they offer you a marketplace invoice, then that means that if Amazon rejects your own gate, you can ask Cogita for a specific marketplace invoice, which does name the wholesaler and does give you a proper invoice format from the wholesaler for what you've purchased. And even when I was submitting that, I was getting denied by Amazon. So I had £300 worth of stock in my spare bedroom. I didn't know what to do with it. It just sat there. I thought eventually I'll just probably try and eBay it. This was before I started getting this is before I got my 100 sales and was able to start auto ungating. Now I found that once I started to auto ungate, probably around the around the end of May, middle of May, end of May, I thought I'm going to try and auto ungate this brand again. It was Alterna, so I just hit the ungate button in Amazon, and where I've been denied every other time or told I've got to submit an invoice, it just went, you are approved to sell this item. So all of a sudden I had 300 quid worth of stock I could now sell, and I did. I made £10 a unit profit on that for 25 units. So that worked out well. It was a bit of a gamble, but it worked out well in the end. That's the only thing I took a gamble on really in terms of the ungating in the early days. I've ungated on Lego. Uh, I did that successfully on my fourth go, even that wasn't straightforward. Um, and I've since tried to ungate the category human ingestible. But I'm just getting denied on that now. Um, and I'm using I bought from Amazon. I bought 120 units of a cereal bar, and I got an Amazon business invoice with all the right details on it, my company name, everything, and they just rejected it every time. I've tried the managing director email address at Amazon. They wrote back to me and said, we'll look at it," and I never heard anything ever again. So my view on ungating is I'm not really that keen on doing much of it, if I'm honest with you. I'd rather have a low friction business and find stuff I know I can sell. Um, and at the moment, I think that's okay. I'm not at the stage where I've got tens of thousands of pounds to spend every month. At the most, I'm spending about 5 grand a month at the moment on stock. I'm maybe going to try and push that up to £8,000 this month for Christmas. But I'm just trying to stick within, what can I sell? Find stuff within those parameters and just go with that. Um, I think there might be a bit of a downside in that, perhaps, in that some things I would want to sell might come with higher profit margins. I'm finding my profit margins are not as good as I think they should be. I'm getting around 10% profit margin on a month-to-month basis, or have been.
What what do you want to target for?
I mean, that's 10% plus cashback, right? So if I include cashback, it's a bit higher, probably 13, 14%. Well, what I want to target for is a good question. So I did the mentorship with Warren, and Warren said I should be going for 20%. Right, as a non-VAT registered seller, I should ideally be trying to hit 20%. Um, and some things I buy are 25, 30%. And other things are, I try not to buy anything that's truly low profit margin. I did have quite a bit of stock hanging around from my early days, right? When I was buying um, these cheap shampoos and things that are under £10 that were selling for 50p a unit profit. I still had some of that knocking around. So I think that's probably dragged down the margins overall. Um,
It's got to be done sometimes though, because what you don't see on STK and stuff is the money that you're getting back because of that.
yeah, that's right. I mean, and I was getting, I'm getting money back, right? I'm making money. It's just that maybe, on my £7,000, roughly £7,000 sales this month, it would be great if I could make 1,400 quid on that rather than £700 on that, or something in between, So I think that's the target. And to be fair, so far this month, because I've got rid of most of my lower value stock in terms of margin, so far this month, and that's what, 8 or 9 days in, my margin is about 16%. So that's much
Right,
better than it has
smashing.
been previously. Trouble is I've run out of stock because all the good stuff is just sold, right? And I've been on holiday and I've not had time to replenish it. So I've been catching up this week, working really hard trying to buy stock and actually managed to get replens for things that were, again, higher profit margin. So hopefully my figures later this month, even if the sales aren't as high, the margins will be up because I'm at this stage. I think I'm more concerned about building a profitable business on a good steady foundation than I am about out and out sales volume. Um,
Yeah.
I'm really keen to sort of work on the numbers, and actually I have been ever since probably ever since the start. I've known what my position is, right? So I recommend to anyone, if you're starting out, know where you are because it's so easy to get lost and you don't know if you're not making money, if you don't have some tools to help you out. So, early on, I think probably end of April, I jumped on SDK, um, not the repricer, but the inventory management sort of tool, and uh, I took out the free version of it. I think I took out Sellerboard first. Didn't like that, and then I went to SDK. And SDK, I find that's pretty easy to use. Um, so I've known my figures and I've kept a spreadsheet all along, and I know exactly what my outgoings have been month to month. Um, so those sales numbers are straight out of Amazon. So I mean those are correct as per Amazon, but sales don't mean anything, right? Do they? It's
Mm.
profit that counts. But
Sanity.
every month since May, my first month I made £80 loss because I was using freebies and trials and stuff like that. I didn't have many expenses, but I made an £80 loss on my sales, and thereafter I've been in profit. Okay, only a little bit, but I've been in profit. I mean, I say my profits the last 2, 3 months, net of all my costs are about £500 a month. So I'm not, I'm still in side hustle territory as opposed to serious business, but it's real money. That's real money that's then going straight back into the business, and I think that's probably reflected in the sales figures because they're going up. Yeah, they're not going up massively, but they're going up in line with the reinvestment I'm putting back in. Um, so that gives me hope that I'm doing the right things, even if my profit margins are not high enough. I'm still building. I'm able to build a business. In fact, even if I build a business on 10% margin plus cash back, eventually that will still be a reasonable business. Once I start selling 10 grand a month or more, I should be making 12, 13, £1,400 a month gross, including cash back. Certainly over £1,000 a month profit. Um, but that's the start. Hopefully, that's not the end game. That's the start. So that's the journey so far. Any sort of questions
Yeah.
around
I
that?
mean, it's a brilliant introduction. You've knocked off half the things I had written down to ask you, so thanks for that.
Oh, no, you should jump in and slow me down. Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions at any point, guys, just jump in.
Would you do anything different, Clive? What do you think has slowed you down? What do you wish you'd done that
Um,
maybe slowed
I,
or you hadn't done?
I, well, will I do any
If you
different?
can't say meeting me, that's not allowed.
No, no, Pete, that's the one thing. I mean, actually, I think actually, we talked about the mentorship before we joined the Navigators, right? And Pete was in that as well, and so were some other people on this call. And the person we were with, I think he had all good intentions, but I just didn't see that working for us in the longer run. But the good news is that we've all met each other in person at a Des Hamilton event last year, and some of us have met again since then at different times, and we've got our own WhatsApp group and we've got our own little support group as well, right? So that's been a really, really valuable thing, I think, is having a support group. And actually, if you haven't got it, being in the Navigators, you've got it, right? Because you've got a ready-made community here. And, if you jump on these calls and are willing to chat, people are more than willing to reach out and, chat back and do what they can to help. Obviously, they're not going to give away their leads, but at least but they'll give you some hints as to maybe how you can go about looking for better leads or do things differently. um so I don't think there's anything I'd do differently uh since I started in March. I don't think I should have done the previous, use someone else's business to try to get into Amazon. I think that was a diversion. I could have been 3 or 4 months further down the line if I'd not done that. I could have been, maybe I could be maybe do a 10K a month seller by now rather than a 7K a month seller. But that's just time, isn't it?
I think that slowed us both down more than 3 or 4
Yeah,
months. I would say
yeah,
more than half a year, probably. For me, I
yeah.
think.
Because it stopped me. That actually also stopped me learning the business for myself, right? In the early days, because it sort of makes you lazy. I don't understand Amazon because someone else is doing it for me. But actually, I'm really glad I understand how Amazon works now. And what what I think about Amazon is I went on the when I was on holiday, I went on the Amazon's own forums, which are full of people asking silly questions about, can someone here tell me where I can buy some stock from, please? Give me your names of your suppliers and stuff like that, And but also there were some good comments on there about how brutal Amazon is as a marketplace, right? Because this, anyone who watches TikTok and sees people say, "I've made £1 million last week," or whatever, or here's my haul from B&M, it's worth £1,000. Well, it's worth £1,000 A, you can sell it and you're ungated. B, you can get the money that it says it's worth on the app in the first place, which it probably isn't. C, the listing isn't tanked, which it will be because it's been all over TikTok, you know. So, I mean, um, sorry, I've lost the thread of where I was going there, but I just think Amazon is a brutal business, right? And what I took from reading that forum was actually, if I can make Amazon work, then I should be able to make pretty much anything work in business because it is a very cutthroat environment. Amazon will just tank your prices. They don't care. They're still making money out of you. And that's happened to me on a few listings. I mean, if I go back to my my initial shampoo that I bought for £5 a unit was able to sell for almost £18 a unit, and I was making a fiver a unit profit. Now Amazon are telling the world I've still got a few units of it left, and Amazon are telling the world, "Oh, don't buy this from Amazon because you can get it cheaper elsewhere." Um, so they're saying that you should be paying more than £8 a unit for it or something like that. So it is what it is. People still buy it. It's a suppressed buy box. I'm not making £18 a unit anymore. I'm selling it for £12.50. I'm still making 50p a unit on it. But and once it's gone, I won't be buying it again because I'm moving on to hopefully, things which are a bit more sustainable and actually um, what I've probably learned, in the early days as well. Everyone's, using um, uh, even they're even everyone that starts out has got to start somewhere, haven't they? So they're going to go to the Tesco clearance counter, Boots. They're going to go to Home Bargains. They're going to go to B&M. They're going to go. Everyone's going to go to those sort of stores, um, and that's what happens. People end up buying cheap products because they haven't got a lot of money initially to start selling, and everyone buys the same cheap products, and then you end up with tank listings or and listings that maybe take months to sell out. And I've been on a few of those. There's been a few of those where I've lost a few quid here and there, not a lot, but I've lost a few quid here and there. And there's been some of those I've actually just refused to sell, right? And I've just kept my price where it is, and I waited 3 months, and the price has come back up, and I've made a very nice profit. So, waiting out a tank listing can be a good strategy, I think, if you've got capital and patience to do that. Depending on what you think the end game's like to be, is it going to come back to £2 or £3 a unit profit? If it's only ever going to make 50p, you might as well get out. But I
Charlotte,
think,
come out the bath now, darling.
Oh.
oh yeah, okay. Shall I hop in the bath as well?
Yeah, we've all got to get in there. Yeah, brilliant.
Clive, I
I
have a
think
quick
some of the
question.
things you said there.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go on, Scott. Go on.
Sorry, I may have missed it, but what did you attribute your ungating ability to when you were able to ungate 1 out of 4? You said all of a sudden. What was the?
it's so when you start when you start with Amazon, you've got to prove your worth. You've got to prove you're worthy of selling on their platform. They don't know who you are. You know, you could be selling counterfeit goods or anything, I guess. So they want to see some sort of sales history from you before they start to trust you and start to give you more opportunities for selling further items, I guess.
So
And
you think it was mostly the quantity that you were selling is what got you ungated, or?
it's not just me that thinks that, right? So there's several of us in this mentorship group. We all had similar experiences. We found that once we sold 1,000 to £1,500 worth of gear and 100 to 140 sales in total, Amazon started to sort of put a bit more trust in you and would allow you to ungate more widely on lots of brands. They're not they're not the best brands, the frontline brands, but nevertheless, lots of brands that which you can purchase across most retail stores. Um, so yeah, I mean that's it. It's time. I think I get the impression that Amazon values velocity, right?
Mhm.
Sales velocity, right? You've got to commit, right? And once you start selling, you've really got to commit and stick to it. And I mean, I was doing my own prep to start off with. I didn't mention that, did I? So to start off with, I just did my own prep, right? So, because I want to learn the business end to end, I decided once, I want to try it all. So for the first 3 or 4 months, all of my own prep in my spare room, and I was sending in 3 or 4 boxes a week, 200 or 300 items a week, and I just kept that up, just that sort of velocity, and that obviously helps, just more ASINs, more ability to sell more things. That equals more sales, right? Doesn't necessarily mean more profit in the short term, but and I think in the early days you have to sacrifice profit for the ability to be a seller.
Mm.
It's more important to become a seller on Amazon than it is to make money in the first couple of months. If you sit there worrying about your profit margin, you'll never get anywhere because you won't find anything you can sell that makes a decent margin, I think. And actually, as I say, I did make money, right? I didn't make a lot of money, but I made, £100, £200 in the first couple of months. And that's enough to go, "Oh, okay, yeah, this business works. If I could scale this up, I can see I can make £1,000 a month, £2,000 a month, And then you start listening to Ricky and you think, well, okay, I'll get a few staff, I can make, a couple of million a year, in sales, and then I can live in Spain. Um, that kind of thing. So yeah, one thing leads to
Yes,
another.
it's
Yeah,
great.
that is
And
great
what you said there,
advice.
yeah, what you said there about the volume, it makes sense. For one thing on Amazon that makes logical sense is they want to see if you're serious,
Mm,
right? So they want to see either, we don't know whether it's volume in terms of like revenue, we don't know whether it's sales, we don't know whether it's orders, but the kind of idea, 140, 150 kind of orders, sales, and like that kind of amount of revenue, it makes sense because then they know you're not just a part timer, just kind of selling a few bits around your house. You actually want to do something serious. So they start to make things a little bit easier for you. A little bit,
yeah,
not a massive amount.
yeah,
But
I think the
and some of the other
idea that
things
you
you
said
said,
about
on Jimmy, go me.
like you kind of got to bite the bullet in the beginning with the young gates and just work through it rather than trying to get around it, trying to get over it. You've just got to kind of smash through it. Maybe take a few losses, like you were saying. I think the first one we said you lost about 80 quid, which I know we get caught up in this space and you see everyone's orange bars and stuff, but the stats about businesses, most businesses aren't profitable for at least 12 months, and
exactly.
to
Yeah,
start from zero, we've really got to have like a reality check. And like you say, take those wins because it does mean something.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. And one of the other things was about consistency, right? You got to keep going. Like every time, what kept me going a lot of the time, like through the years, was whenever Amazon threw me a curveball, which it's been a few times, and whenever there was a big one as well, it's like, you know, you I felt like giving up. There was probably 5 times where I really felt like I don't know if I can really keep going. But then it was like feeling that for a couple of days, and then it's like, right, shake out of it. And it's like, if I get through this, everyone else has probably got this same hurdle, this same barrier in front of them. And if I push through it, and then 5 other people are going to give up because they're not going to do it. So I'm going to be the one on the other side of this. There's going to be less competition, but there won't be as much competition, guaranteed, because not a lot of people are going to bother to keep going. And at the beginning, that big hurdle can be ungating, right? Later on, it can be things, maybe they just don't pay you for several months because they think something's wrong on your account. You have to prove it's not, right? There's all sorts of things that can come your way. And there's so many things that we can give up, so many reasons we can give up. But if you're, like I spoke about the event, if your why, if your reason is way, way bigger than just you, and it's not just about money, it's what about that money can maybe bring you, then that's the thing when you look up at that why and go, that's why I'm freaking doing it. I'm doing it for these people. No, not just me, but I'm doing it for this and what that can get me and the people around me. So, and that's what's going to pull you through the dark times because there will be some.
yeah. I mean, I think I probably have a dark time every month, if I'm honest with you. I mean, and I genuinely mean that, right? Because it's a roller coaster, it really is. Because it's like,
Mm.
oh, yeah, I get the end of it. because I use STK, you see your sales and your profits from month to month, don't you? So you start the month at zero. So at the start of the month, I'm just like, oh God, I've got to climb this hill again, and will I be able to make the mountain a bit higher this month? And then you get to the end of the month, you go, wait, look at this, I've done amazing. Look, my sales are up 10%, my profits up 5%, whatever. Oh, great month, and then it's back to zero again. I think mentally, I struggle with that a bit, and I think part of the issue for me now is it's like I could do with a lot more money and I could easily spend it, but I am not going to borrow money to do that. The worst I do, I have a capital on tap credit card, and I only have that to get the cash back. But I don't spend more than I've got on my bank account, right, in order to fund the credit card. So I'm just using that as leverage for the cash back.
Mhm.
But I'm probably going to put a bit more capital in this month, just to add a bit more to the fire. But I'm not going to borrow money, and I'm going to do this organically. Um,
Mm.
and like you said, Ricky, I'm just going to keep showing up, right? Because um, I mean, I'm very lucky. I mean, I think I'm very lucky, right? I mean, there are people here I know that are doing this as a side hustle, or trying to do it as a way to, make their working lives better. And I understand that because I was in the same boat a few years ago. Before I did this, I did match betting for 10 years, right? So, um, and I made a good side hustle income out of match betting before I did this. But it was never going to be enough money to change my life. But something like this can change your life. But it's not easy, and you do have to keep showing up. There's no doubt about that. Um, I I worry a little bit about Amazon as a platform being my only source of income, or my only business source of income, if you like. Because like you said, Ricky, right? You said many times, right? You have months where they didn't pay you and you almost gave up, right? Because what was staring you in the face was, I can't sell. Um, so I'm thinking about diversifying anyway, and because I haven't got tens, 20, 30,000 pound a month to spend yet, it doesn't take me that long to do my sourcing. So I might as well spend some time thinking about what else I can do that's complementary to Amazon that may allow me to expand my business and diversify it a bit. So I'm also looking into eBay, and I'm going to look at the multi-channel fulfillment from Amazon. Initially do that. But I'm also looking at possibly drop shipping on eBay as well. But you can drop ship from Amazon to eBay. So I'm looking at ways of uh, just having more than one income stream from Amazon or from e-commerce in general. And I may even go back to looking at dropshipping again on the Shopify platform eventually, but not yet, because I think that's quite different model to what I'm working with now and what I'm learning at the moment. Um, but that's my
Yes.
plan for the future is to sort of try to spread the wings a bit, maybe minimize, not minimize the risk, spread the risk a bit. I used to be a professional risk manager, by the way. That was my job. So, uh, but that, and people used to say to me, "Oh, is it too risky, Clive, if you do this?" And I said, "Well, it's not about is it too risky. It's about how you managing the risk, right? If you manage risk and you take sensible, you make take sensible decisions, weigh up the pros and the cons. You've got to take some risk in business to make money. It's not about not taking risk at all. It's what people used to say. If you're a risk manager, that means you don't like people being risky. No, not at all. We just want to make sure that you survive and continue to grow. So I try to bring that with me and in what I'm doing now. So maybe some people might be a bit more, bang, let's go faster, right, than me. I mean, I think I'm going reasonably quick, and I understand that. I understand that drive to go forward because I get frustrated with myself. I'm not going quick enough, right? I want to earn more money. I want it now, right? One of my one of my things is I want a car. right? I gave up my car when I gave up work, so we only have one car between myself and my wife. So I want a car back, and I could buy a car, but I'm not doing it until my business allows me, will fund it. So that's kind of like my short-term goal, short to medium-term goal as it is now, to make enough money so that I can, fund the lease on a car or something like that. And then it's, I'd like to make enough money, to take less money out of my pension. And then I'd like to make enough money to, maybe be a bigger house. So I have a list of things I want to do. Um, and I'm hoping that I'm going to slowly work my way through that list, grow the business organically, and achieve those objectives. But when I talk to people, when I talk to the likes of, all the guys on the call, right? I mean, Jimmy, Ash, Ricky, they're all they're all going for it, right, in their own ways. And it's inspirational being in this group because you've got people that are successful at all levels at the moment, and they're all going to smash it, and uh, it makes me want to carry on doing it myself.
Yeah, that's brilliant because you need it. Because, like Ricky was saying, I've had it several times, more times than I can remember. I thought, oh, is it worth it? Is it gonna last? And I've just said to myself, just one more day, just one more week, and then you get through that, and it's like you say, you get to the end of the month, and you're like, oh, I did it. Right.
Yeah. I think today I've had, today I feel like I've been hit by a bus, if I'm honest, because, I came back from a holiday on Saturday. It was a very early flight, so Saturday was a wipeout. Sunday I was still tired, started to do a bit of work. So I've been working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on really just doing sourcing this week, and I've done quite, I've spent several thousand quid in a few days, but today I spent quite a lot of money, and then it's all the admin that comes with it. You've got to log it all, and because I've done a lot in a short space of time, it feels like, it really feels like hard work, right? There's a lot of hard work for, at the moment, not a lot of return, right? And you just got to get past that and go, well, it is worth it because I can see the business is building every month. And I know if I stay this course, 3 or 4 months from now, I will be hitting £1,000 a month profit. If I keep reinvesting, keep doing what I'm doing, keep finding ways of improving my margins, it's going to work. So the other thing we haven't spoken about really is, obviously, um, what have I learned, I suppose, with the navigators, right? Because no one's asked me the question. Come on, navigators, ask me some questions about why.
You have just
Yeah.
literally been ticking off every single thing off my list as you've gone.
I mean, I've learned so much, right? I mean, in this community, because I think, just in, I'm just trying to think when I wasn't a paid member, there's still like there's a basic course, isn't there? And I think that would, if that had been around, a year ago when I was looking, I would have jumped on Navigators then if I'd known about it. You weren't there, it wasn't there then, but that would have been enough to get me going, I think. And then becoming a premium member, there is so much content. I mean, I haven't even worked through the back catalogue yet of content on the premium stuff. I've dipped in and dipped out of different modules as I think I needed to sort of look at different things about the business operations and how to set an Amazon accounts up and stuff. And I've dipped in and dipped out of the sourcing stuff, and I've done the sourcing mentorship separately as well. And if I'm honest with you, I've now got so much information from you guys that I'm a bit like a rabbit in headlights because I don't know actually what to use today. So I need to stand back and go, right, okay, I've learned these different sourcing methods. I've learned how to use Keeper. I need to put some structure around what I'm going to do, what I'm going to use and when, because um, there are so many ways you can tackle the sourcing game, and sourcing is really the number one issue, isn't it? If you can source well and get good products in, then you make money.
Yeah.
Um, but it's getting my head around that and getting it to a way where I can go Mondays I'm doing storefront stalking, Tuesdays I'm doing either source reverse searching or whatever, or Wednesdays I'm just doing either sort of storefront searches. Thursdays I'm doing EU A to A. I mean, I've got to think seriously about how to do that, but I'm still trying to learn some of those techniques as well. So it's a bit of a juggling game, isn't it? I'm running the business and I'm building the sales and things are still happening. At the same time, I'm still trying to learn loads of stuff to get even better at it. Um,
Yeah. Kind
uh,
of like when you take the training wheels off a bike, you shouldn't look at the ground, you shouldn't look at the wheels. Keep looking forward and keep going, but it's that
yeah,
temptation to just keep looking at it and then you start wobbling
yeah.
and
But you've also got to think, if you just keep looking forward, you've also got to think strategically, right? You got to think about, okay, yeah, I'm looking forward, but I can see where I'm going. There's a big mountain up there. How am I going to get over that
mm,
mountain? There's different ways of doing that. And I think you've got to think a bit strategically if you want to grow your business seriously. And that's the conclusion I've come to is that I do want to turn this into a serious business. Um, you know, hence, thinking about diversification. Also, thinking ahead, okay, at some point, again, I've got sort of targets in my head, which are, I want to get a VA, right? There's no point me getting a VA. I mean, everyone's different. In my case, say I don't have a full-time job. This is my hobby slash job slash side hustle all in one, and I'm trying not to make it full-time. I'm trying to do this in under 30 hours a week, right? Not being very successful at the moment. I'm spending more time than that on it, but I'm trying to get to under 30 hours a week in this. But the plan is when I get to £1,500 a month on average, profit in a business, that'd be when I employ a VA. Because I think by then I would have worked out my sourcing strategy on what days of the week. I'll have a proper plan for how I'm going to run my business. I'm already starting to write standard operating procedures as I go for things as I learn them. So I'm building my own operations template so that when I get a VA, I can teach them to say, do this. Because ultimately, I want to be the business owner, and I don't want to be involved in the day to day in the long run. Um, that's the
I
plan.
already say you're miles ahead of me when I was 6 months in thinking about SOPs and hiring staff and stuff. It wasn't
Yeah.
even a thought in my mind. You've had
Well,
a few questions in the chat as well.
I mean, the SOP thing, I mean, to be fair, I mean, my background was in banking, risk management, all of that, and IT, all of that is in all of those disciplines. And, I've been doing it all my life. So it sort of comes naturally to do that kind of stuff, even though I've not run my own business before.
Yeah, I was gonna say you seem to have kind of quite a good business mindset about you. Like you're saying, you're thinking about
Yeah.
strategy, managing risk, and
Well, again, I mean, I was a senior manager for quite a while in
yeah,
data protection, in cybersecurity, and I worked for a bank called JP Morgan, right? One of the largest investment banks in the world. I think they're a brilliantly run company, right? I mean, they make mistakes like every other business does, but but what gets measured gets managed, right? Everything gets managed in that company. And I left there 10 years ago and went to work for other UK banks over the years, financial services companies, and they always seemed like they were 100 years behind where I worked. And so that sort of mindset has always come with me. And again, it's just, I guess I've been lucky, right, in a work sense to have had that background.
we've had a question from Kev. He's asked about when you started off, was there any particular d departments, like a category of toys or beauty or something? Um, or did you do well in targeted? I'm not sure what you mean there, Kev, or just use leads to start. I think he's saying when you started off, what sort of categories and methods were you looking at?
I didn't care, right? So I completely agree with what Ricky said on the call before. Go where the money is, right? He says go where the money is, and that's absolutely right. Right? Amazon is a platform. You don't actually need to have a niche. You can sell anything. So as long as you can sell it and it's profitable, then I'd say sell it. Um, and that's. I mean, when I first started, I didn't even have the luxury of saying, "Oh, what can I, what fragrances can I sell, or what toy brands can I sell?" It's just what can I sell? I'll sell
Yeah.
it.
I think that goes back to what you mentioned about ungating as well. You were saying you start to get ungated on these smaller brands. My store is mostly brands that I've never heard of. And there's so
Right.
much money to be made in those smaller brands because the big boys generally have got their stuff sorted. Their operations are streamlined, the distribution's not got a bunch of holes in it, which is where we come in to fill. So there's a lot of opportunity in them smaller brands as well.
I, I think you're right, and and again, it's less friction for your business, right? As long as you can find those products, um, ungating takes time, right? With Amazon rejecting it and all of the time, and you might have
Mm.
to submit something 5 or 10 times. That takes quite a bit of effort because you might have to get the document back, stare at it for 10 minutes, try to work out what wasn't right, circle things, mark them up, write a write a little paragraph or two back to Amazon, and then they reject it again. So, ungating takes time, and I'd rather just be spending my time sourcing stuff that I can make money on, and then move on.
I think, sorry, someone was going to jump in and ask something if they're muted still. No, if not, Ash has asked, what is the strangest thing you've sold? It's,
The strangest thing I've sold.
yeah, if you're not still selling it, of course.
I don't think I've sold anything odd. I mean, I've sold stuff. I thought I've no idea what that is, and then about a month down the line, I thought I ought to find out what this is. um, I sold something called Physio Dose. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that. It's
I've sold that.
yeah, so it's basically sterilized water. It comes in little packets, which are used, I think,
Yeah,
used for babe wiping babies' eyes and stuff like that.
I think
So
I've been on that exact listing before.
I sold quite a lot of that. That was a really good thing. Just for actually, I mean, one of the other things I've not really touched on is in terms of sales volume. Um, I'm nearly at 250 Amazon account health. So I should be there in the next 3 or 4 days. So I've done about 3,000 sales, and that will get me to 250 account health. Then I think once you've been there if you can get 250 or above for 6 months, if there's a dispute with Amazon, apparently it's supposed to help you with Amazon, work through the dispute in a more friendly manner. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I thought, well, building up some sort of account health has got to be a good thing anyway, because I did have not an IP complaint. I had, what was it called? Uh, when you jump on someone's listing that they've got a trademark on it. God, what are they
Parallel
called?
import, maybe?
Wasn't parallel, not parallel import. It's like someone had a unique bundle, and it's a high street product, but they basically packaged it with some beauty leaflet, which they put their own brand
Section
on.
three. Section
So,
three. No.
no, it wasn't
Section
section.
three. No.
No, it's just
That's like an IP issue, no?
it might have been, yeah. So yeah, maybe it is an IP, yeah, of sorts.
Mm.
But so I had one of those. It didn't cost me any points, but of course, if you have too many of those, you can lose points, can't you? So I thought, account health is important. So I did value, go back to sales velocity as well. Sales velocity, get yourselves up quickly, gives you more points. So if you do have an issue in future, you've got a bit of a buffer to protect
Mm.
yourself. Um, and Physiodose sold bucket loads of that in the early days. I didn't make any money on it. I made 10p a unit or something, but it sold bucket loads. So did the job.
So, Scott, you very politely raised your hand.
Yeah, I have being a little bit unexperienced yet with the Amazon, I have a question from a different perspective. Accounting, do you have a specialized Amazon accountant? And if you do, I just found one and I'm working with them now, but they've warned me about the number of most of their clients buy a container from China and ship it over once or twice a year, and they have one big invoice. And these guys are telling me, we're a little concerned about the number of invoices for small, especially small profit items coming in and the quantity of them. Have you experienced anything with that with your accountant, or how are you dealing with that kind of situation?
Well, I've actually only just signed up to an accountant, so it's probably a bit different here to in Germany anyway. But I've signed up to an accountant who does deal with lots of Amazon sellers in the UK, um, and he's going to do because I've been trading 1 year as a UK limited company, so my accounts are due in the next 9 months. So he's going to make those up for me. Um, but no, I mean, basically, I'm doing everything that he's asked me to do. I keep full records of what I'm purchasing, quantities of things I'm purchasing. I save all my invoices. I save all um, my EverUp voucher invoices. I've got everything I need from a sort of UK accounting perspective. And he's just because I use Seller Toolkit, he said I can generate some inventory reports from that, which can be used to help with reconciling the accounts from his perspective as well. So I think it's all good. I'm not doing any private label. I'm not importing from China or anything like that. It's all fairly low key stuff at the moment.
I think probably what they're getting at, Scott, is a bit of an unusual model. The accountants over here, they're kind of getting exposed to this sort of model more and more. So you might just have to kind of sit down and discuss with them what you're doing, how it works and stuff like that, and they might get more of an understanding of
Well,
it.
this is actually, I mean, I researched in the internet and found and it's a local guy actually or a group in Hamburg, but they're specialized in Amazon hand trying to think of the English words, trading. And so, and I found several of them, but they were all having kind of the same experience where they had people that were buying in one big bulk purchase for the year or maybe two. And so they don't have that many invoices going back and forth. And these guys said, we can handle it. We know what the business is. That's not a problem. But just so if you get into little penny ante invoices where you're making 20 cents on products and what have you, and we're doing all this extra work for it, we're going to have to charge you for it, and it's going to cost you a bit. So make sure. So they're saying if you can do invoices, collective invoices, buy multiple products in one invoice. And I'm thinking, doesn't sound like that's going to be very, very easy to do, especially if you're working on low price products and low profit products at the beginning, just to get ungated and get started.
Yeah, this won't be your final accountant, Scott. You'll probably have several over the years. And at the beginning, you won't have many invoices, so they'll be fine. And like you say, as the volume increases, I mean, we have hundreds, a month. So your accountant needs will change over time. It sounds like they kind of know what they're doing. Start with them, but if they get annoyed and they'll start charging you more, which is fair, right? When you start giving them more work. But what we need to look into this side of the water in England, they've got a lot of different softwares they can use, which really help and cut out the middleman. And that's really what we need to start looking into over this side of the water as well. We're a bit slower over this side, Scott, especially down in Spain. Things take a long time to get here. But UK have been in the game, Amazon game, a lot longer than Europe. But there's going to be technologies that come along as well, already here. We just need to find them and see if they work for us as well.
All right. Thank you.
Where we are running over, we've got a few more questions. Gavin has asked, what's the best software that you've purchased and you now could not get rid of?
Best software. I'm not sure there is any best software, if I'm honest with you. I mean, I think SDK is good for the inventory management side of things. I think that's a really good piece of software for knowing what my operational sales position and my P&L is sort of day to day, seeing what my Amazon returns are, where I can claim things back. The SDK software for that very good. On reprices, I'm a bit agnostic about one over another. I was using Profit Protector Pro. I used it on a free trial for 6 weeks. Um, then I decided that it was going to be double the cost of using the SDK repricer if I continued with it. I think PPP was £66 a month. SDK repricer is about 36 quid a month. So I thought, well, I need to manage my costs. So I'm with SDK for inventory management side of things. I might as well just be with SDK for everything. And it does make things a bit easier, just having to update your cost of goods in one place. So I think SDK is good. I honestly don't believe it's brilliant. Don't think that at all, right? I think it does the job. If something better comes along, I'd look into it because I think the interface is old, it's clunky. I don't think the support's that good for it, really. Their recent breach wasn't great. I mean, I used to be a data protection officer, and it didn't look good to me. So, uh, yeah. What other software is there? I'm just trying to think.
And the RAM, Keeper.
Yeah, uh, SaaS is obviously SaaS is non-negotiable in my mind. I mean, I didn't try Buybot Pro. Uh, I got introduced to SaaS. I learned it. I thought, well, there's no point changing. It does the job. That's obviously essential. Keeper, yeah, absolutely. Keeper's brilliant, right? Very, very difficult. Well, very difficult, finicky interface, I suppose. Could be improved massively, but if it's too easy to use, maybe more people would use it, and it'd be less profitable for people that are using it to find good deals. So I think if you learn Keeper well, I'm just a beginner, and I bow down to Ash. uh, uh, but yeah, I really want to get to learn to use that efficiently. I think Keeper's a great piece of software.
Paul has asked as well, do you use any accounting software at the minute?
So I asked my accountant if I needed to get Xero or anything like that, link my books, and he said no. He said don't worry about it until when you're VAT registered. Fine, yes, we'll use it then, but um, I think as a UK limited company, you don't have to generate a particularly complex set of accounts for a non-VAT registered business. So as long as I can get my P&L info out of SDK and out of my bank statements, it's fine. No, I've not had to buy anything special yet. I mean, I might do it anyway for my own. Again, just thinking ahead about building the business, I might get Zero and just start using it anyway. So I've actually got another smaller. I've got another business. It's a holiday let business I've run. I could probably do with a little bit of automation around that, so I could kill two birds in one stone.
Yeah, we do get away with a fair bit compared to Europe in terms of accounting. Buying the stable
Definitely.
before the horse. Oh, do you mean getting the accounting software, Paul, early? Do not mute if you were.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Jimmy. I wonder if is it worth going down the accountancy software route before you get involved with the accountants?
I did. I did personally. Um, it's difficult to say. There's an argument for both, definitely. I mean, like Clive says, y- your accounts, especially in your first year, you're not VAT registered. They are going to be very simple, and very cheap to pay the accountant to do as well if you did. Um, so if you're in kind of bootstrap, keep costs low, it could be an option. I mean, Clive's obviously spoke to a professional who said that's okay. I mean, obviously, if the accountant messes up, it's still on you. Hope everyone knows that you do sign that agreement. But generally, it's difficult. I would probably get zero. Um, but that was just how I did it. So
I am thinking about doing it because I think you can get it on. If you look around, you can get it on a 6-month trial, or I mean, I think my bank might offer me a deal on it for 3 months or something like that for free of charge. So at some point, I'm going to bite the bullet and get Zero. There's something called Link My Books as well. I don't know much about that, and I don't know if there's any benefit in having that either. But uh, I'm going to look into it at some point.
yeah, Link My Books becomes, I would argue, nearly essential once you're VAT registered because it essentially it's going to reduce your accounting bill because it breaks down every disbursement into each of the separate items so they know how much VAT's being charged and everything. So it's going to help with the VAT returns mostly.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
Ash, have you raised a hand?
Well,
I raised a hand. I've got a question. So obviously before we came to, like when we first met, it was like the Des Hamilton Roadshow. What gave you the confidence to kind of want to join the Navigators?
I threatened him to. He had to.
I mean, I think it's just chatting to you guys, you at the bar. I remember chatting to chatting to Ash, Ricky, and Warren, at different times, and um, I think it was just time to try something else for me. As I say, I come from a different mentoring sort of background. I felt like I still wanted to continue getting to some support, and you know, you guys were offering that, right? And for I can't remember what it was now. What I signed up for, pretty signed up for a month or something. I think I pretty signed up on the back of the deal that you offered at the roadshow back in where was it? Birmingham, Manchester, no,
Manchester.
Manchester. Yeah, I forget where I was now. Um, yeah, probably just signed up on the back of that for a month. We'll give it a go. I mean, for 40 quid or wasn't much of a risk, was it? And I'd recommend for that money people try it out, right? Because as I said earlier, once you get into the premium content, there's plenty there that will keep you busy for months. And you can dip in and dip out of it as you need it. I mean, up to I'm not supposed to be selling the Navigators as such, but I mean that's what I genuinely believe, right? If I need to look something up, if I don't know the answer, chances are it's there somewhere in the content.
Amazing to hear for us. That's the perfect feedback.
Thank you.
Got any more questions, guys? I know it's getting on a bit now, Clive.
Nothing wrong with selling Navigators, Clive. Nothing wrong with it at all. Yeah, so I want to add a couple of things, Clive. So, definitely for, like you said earlier, I said, go where the money is. I don't remember saying those exact words, but some great words, right? Go where the money is. And it's about falling in love with a process, right? Don't fall in love with a product because maybe that is the best bloody product in the world and you're making 15 quid a profit per unit. Things end, right? Things come, things go. Sometimes you get on a product, and we're still selling a product now that we've been selling for 4 years, and we just come into another batch of it, and there's hardly any other sellers in Europe. Sometimes you get big winners, but fall in love with the process, right? Not the product. So just keep on going through the process. It's just another product. You just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I just want to add a bit of value for you as well, Clive, because you've added some tremendous value for everyone, I think. I think everyone give us a thumbs up if you agree to that. But with regards to the VA, I think you got your head screwed on there with getting a VA. When you get to about 1,500 profit, a lot of people will wait and keep grafting. But I think at that point you've got something, because you don't want to work all the hours on this, right? You've already done that for most of your life probably. So it's a good number to hit, and then you could hire someone full time for probably about £320 a month to take it out of that 1,500 quid. But what it does, it buys back time. It buys you back 40 hours a week of someone who's willing to put in the graft, 40 hours a week, week in, week out. And I would suggest that you hire someone to do your admin first, right? So get them to do your admin first, because you can do the task. It's just a quick 5-minute video of showing them one task, and you give them that video and they can watch it, 20 times if they need to. Don't need to ask you many questions, and then they take off that task for you forever. So you do a 5-minute investment, a couple of questions, and then that's one job, which may take you an hour a week, but that's every week in, week out. So it's 52 hours a year. And then you do another 5-minute video and the same thing. And you get them to write the SOPs for you as well, right? Just a little tip, because then if they can write an SOP and you can read it back and check it off, they're damn good at doing that task, right? And you just buy back yourself all of this time. And then eventually they're going to have more time left, and you can start showing them to source, and you start really becoming that CEO. So yeah, great job, mate. Doing really great. It may seem long, but you're like me, a bit more risk averse, but I'm still here almost a decade later.
Yeah.
Still growing.
My I guess my mantra at work was always just keep showing up, right? Keep showing up. And one of my last jobs, I think when I went for an interview, the hiring manager asked me a question, and I just said, "Well, you just have to keep chipping away." And apparently, she absolutely loved that, and that's why I got the job, right? And I think actually, if you keep chipping away and are just consistent at what you do, you'll be successful at whatever it is you're trying to do. It doesn't, whether it's Amazon or something else, you just got to keep showing up and keep having a go at it, and eventually you make progress.
Definitely.
Fantastic
Great.
advice. Right, final bits now, everyone. We'll wrap up soon. Clive's given plenty of his time for us this evening. Any burning questions? We will wrap up if not.
How much are you charging for this, Clive?
Don't tell him.
Annual subscription.
No.
Yeah.
What would be? Have you got any plans for where you're going to be at next year? Or where you want to be at next year?
Yeah, I must admit, I've not written a proper business plan or anything like that, and that's probably something I should think about a bit more seriously, is writing down where I want to be and when. But I think part of the reason I'm not doing that is I don't want to put the pressure on myself, because I had a highly pressurized job, and now I'm doing this for fun, right? So I'm doing this for fun and interest, and yes, I do have targets I want to hit, but I'm not so fussed about exactly when I hit them, as long as I keep moving towards those targets. But I think Ricky said on the call recently, have a target. It doesn't matter if you don't hit it, but have the target. And I think there's probably some truth in that as well. So I should think about it. I mean, definitely 12 months from now, if I'm not, well, I will be a 6-figure seller, right?
I'm sure you will.
Definitely. I definitely will be a 6-figure seller, and I think I will have a second strand to my business, which may also be a 6-figure business as well. I think it's definitely got the possibility. So I'm hoping, I should stop saying the word hope. I don't like the word hope. I really don't. I don't like the word hope. I will have, a 6-figure business, and I expect it to be significant. In the, I won't say, not high hundreds of thousands, but I certainly expect it to have more than the one in front of it within 12 to 15 months, I'd say.
I'm very confident that you will. I love that you corrected yourself on that as well. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, people say hope. I just think if you hope for anything, it never happens. You have to take actions.
It's like trying, isn't it, Peter?
God, I'm never volunteering for anything again.
I had him up on stage at the event, Clive, on Friday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't tell you that, did I, Clive? No.
That's a good one.
All future events, I'm sitting at the back.
Should have listened to Becky.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's been a great call, Clive. Yeah, great to hear from you and hear your story. And I think a lot of people can relate and see, you are, one or two or a few steps ahead of some of the other people here. And yeah, like you said, just keep chipping away, everyone. Stay close to the fire, like, stay in this community and keep learning, keep supporting each other, and keep sharing your wins as well, your successes and your sales, because you may not think it's a lot, but to the next person, that's behind you, you can lift them up a bit, right? You reach back and you just lift them up a little bit. So yeah, keep sharing, keep going.
Yeah. I think the last thing I'll say is a massive thank you to Clive. You've honestly carried this interview through. You ticked off like every question on my list without me even asking. So a massive thank you for taking the time. Massive thank you to everyone who's come as well and shown some support from one of our members.
Thank
It's
you.
been a
Yeah,
lovely,
thanks.
lovely call this evening. Got the
Yeah,
recording.
definitely.